up there when I'm ready there. Okay, thank you. Council is being reconvened now at, it is 12:01, is that correct? Okay. First thing on our agenda is I need an amendment for the order of the day. I need a motion for an amendment to, an approval of an amendment. All in favor, signify by saying yes.
I gotta make them.
It's a mention.
We need a motion.
You gotta tell them what they're amending.
Yeah.
To add,
Amending the order of the day by adding Cornwall's Park Secretary Strategy and Land Use Bylaw.
you need to know that, it was up there. You're supposed to read that. I need a mover, which is Councillor Parsons-Salzman, and the seconder is Councillor Oxner. Okay. All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Against, no. Motion passed. Okay, so we're adding back to, do we have to put a section 2? 6.8?
6.8.
6.8, okay. All right, now I need, if you go to your papers that were given to us on the public hearing, you will see the motion that is on the page 1 of 3. I would like someone to read the motion as it is. This page is volunteer councillor. John, do you want to read it?
It's a staff report.
You got it here, could you read that?
I move that pursuant to first reading given on January 21st, 2025, in accordance with the recommendation for approval of the Annapolis County Planning Advisory Committee, and after holding a public hearing thereon, that second and final reading be given to adopt the Cornwallis Park Secondary Planning Strategy and Land Use Bylaw.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Cranston. Thank you, Councillor Rush. Okay, at this point, I will pass the floor on to our CAO to give an explanation about what's going on here.
Or Madam Chairperson, just a couple comments based on the public hearing and some of the other comments that we've heard this morning. I think it's recognized by everybody we all need housing. We need all forms of housing. I don't think there's anything anymore called low-income housing. Everything's affordable, and it doesn't matter if you afford $500, $800, $1,000, $2,000, or $3,000, it's affordable to you. And all of our housing should be affordable. And today's decision is about zoning. It's not about building. We're not in the building business, we're in the zoning business. And if we get the zone right, people will come and they'll build housing, or they'll build commercial businesses, they'll build places where people are employed, and they're going to do it based on market. So if there's a market for higher end housing, it will be built. If there's a market for more affordable or more modest housing, the market will build. So we shouldn't concern ourselves today with the types of housing that's going to be built there. The market will dictate what the housing is going to be, and it will dictate the volume of housing that's going to be there based on the demand that's there. This, as noted in Ms. Botang's presentation, the Planning Advisory Committee for Cornwallis Park met 15 or 16 times. It's gone through PAC a couple times. There's been special meetings held with ABDS and Acadian Sea Plants. There's been other public information meetings held. The process has been long. It's been arduous. There's been lots of feedback. Are we going to get it perfect? No, we're not going to get it perfect because everything is changing over time. But staff feel what you have before you today is the best available product today as of February 19th, 2025. There's always been concerns about the compatibility between industrial uses, commercial uses, and residential uses. That exists throughout the county, not just in Cornwallis Park, but everywhere. I think to date, the people in Cornwallis Park would say Acadian Sea Plants has been a good neighbor. They understand the dynamic of trying to create a successful business and employment opportunities, but also trying to respect the residential nature of the community and not cause any grief there. Whenever there's been issues or complaints, whenever I've had any dealings with them, they've always been very quick and respectful and timely in addressing those issues. So there is the opportunity, as was suggested, to do a compatibility study. Compatibility study will delay the process probably by 6 months. And what it's probably going to come back with is say, you can put some berms in to reduce the noise, which I think there's already some modest berms there now. You can plant some trees, and you can do some other things that are going to help with compatibility of both sight and noise and so on and so forth. So I don't think we need to hire a consultant to tell us that. I think we already probably know that in our heart, what those are. At the end of the day, I think we've got to find compatibility between landowners. And so the people that own the land now or are going to own the land in the future have to recognize that if they want to put in a good development and a positive development, they have to do what's good for the community. And so it would not make sense for a developer to come in and put housing right next to the industrial lands. They're going to put it separate a ways away, and eventually those things are going to grow on their own as far as compatibility and what's near each other and what isn't near each other. There's also lots of roadways between the industrial site and the residential site, so there's lots of separation that exists there today as far as roadways as well. So I think the community will decide, the business community will decide. KDNC Plants has always been a good business, a good neighbor. ABDS has always been very respectful and very mindful of that relationship they have and the need for them to develop the lands. And I'm sure any future developer that comes along is going to be very respectful and understanding of that relationship as well. And is going to put a good development in there. There's opportunities to do that, and so we want to be positive about it. So if there are any amendments to come forward, now is the time for individual councillors if they wish to make any amendments. But I certainly know staff are very positive about this, and staff are encouraging council to move forward today. If we wish to make any amendments, make any amendments. But to also adopt the documents that are before you today to move forward. And if there are some minor amendments in the future, like we have with the county-wide plan, we'll make them. As I said, we're not going to get it all exactly perfect for everybody today, because somebody may come along tomorrow and want to change a use or change a piece of land for a use that wasn't thought of. And council will deal with those at the time, and the planning advisory committee will deal with those at the time. So thank you, Madam Chair, for the opportunity to address those issues today.
Thank you for the great explanation. Okay, so, any volunteer councillors who think they want to have amendments to this policy, this draft, should do it now. Please state page number and go slow, because Madame Clerk needs to, which document, page number, which policy or bylaw number, and slowly, so that we don't get all lost. And she needs to type it, and I don't want to do that job. So, because I never get it done. Councillor Hare. Which one are we doing? Land use?
Yep, so I'm going to start with the land use bylaw, page 27. I'm going to start with the unregistered vehicles. This would take 3 motions to remove because it's spread out in 3 different spots throughout the document. So to start with, it's again page 27, and I move.
Just wait. You just go by her cues.
I move that the draft LUB be amended to delete definition unlicensed vehicle means a motor vehicle is defined by the Provincial Motor Vehicle Act, which does not have a valid registration or vehicle license properly displayed.
Now, can you go slower? That would be like, so she can just read it slowly. This one, deleting unlicensed vehicle. Is what you want? You want to delete it?
Yes.
Okay. So if you have it written down, you can read it again, so he approves it. Please.
Okay, so you move to remove the definition unlicensed vehicle on page 27 of the LUB.
Yep.
Yes, we need a seconder for that amendment. We have a seconder, okay. Cranton, Councillor Cranton. Okay, so we need comments, questions to deal with that motion. Councillor Welsh.
This is just a definition. I think it
takes 3 parts to remove. I can't just remove one.
Could you just let him finish his
Yeah,
comments,
sure.
and then we
Yeah.
can hear everything you're saying? Sorry, Councillor Hare.
Sorry, Councillor Hare. This is just a definition of what an unlicensed vehicle is. pretty simple. It's just a definition.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why we would be removing it.
I guess,
If you could help me with that.
if I may, Madam Chairperson, the intention, I think, of Councilor Hare is to make further amendments to the document.
Okay.
And if the definition of unlicensed vehicle is not there, then the other parts of the bylaw would not have any relevance.
Okay.
There's other parts of the bylaw or the MPS that say you cannot have an unlicensed vehicle, so if the definition is not there, you're going to ask what that is in the other parts of the document.
Okay.
So if you vote for this, you're going to, by default, have to vote for the other parts of it as well, otherwise you're going to have a conflicted document.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hare?
If I'm not trying to do this as a sneaky, oh, I gotcha. It's just, there's three things that have to get amended, and this is the first of three. So that's why I did it. And just to kind of, I'm not going to read everything I have again, but like I say, this is just to allow people to legally have projects. You know, it's nothing invasive. It's just people can legally have a motorcycle project in the garage, or be able to have the garage door open on a weekend, working on a couple unlicensed vehicles. And like I say, it's the fact of how if you're in a duplex, when one person gets the right, if you have a sibling, only one sibling gets the project. So it's just about making this right and fair. So I'll leave it there.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Any other councillor have comments on that, or questions on that? Councillor Hearn?
I want to say that I see the value in what Councillor Hare is putting forward, and I see what he's trying to do to make it less restrictive, and I agree with some of the sentiment behind that. I personally would like the opportunity to have a discussion about this a bit more, about the ins and outs of it. So at this exact time, I think I'll struggle to support the amendments right now. For me personally, this would be something that I would like us to discuss as a council a little bit more about how we could make these tweaks going forward. I think the idea is to get this plan into motion, get this to its second reading, and move it forward. But in Councillor Hare bringing up some of these issues, I think it's given us some food for thought, so I'll just say that.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other comment? Yes, Councillor Hagenberg.
Well, if there's three parts to this process here, and we only heard one, and by defeating the first one or accepting the first one is going to have an effect on the other two, maybe it's contingent upon us to at least hear what the other two are before. Does that make sense?
Could list
Well,
the other ones, just what they are.
you certainly can, but the motion on the floor says different.
I can describe my intention. How about that?
Yes, you want to remove this, amend this by removing it because,
My intention is to begin with this motion to remove the unlicensed motor vehicle definition, and then following that, on page 61, the next one will be section 7.5.3, other provisions in the R1 zone,
7.5.3, okay,
on page 61.
Yes.
This is of the bylaw, so that's the bylaw in itself.
right, exactly, and,
And then in the planning strategy, it would be page 55, 10.1.5. And I'd like to just say that this isn't preventing the document from getting read today or passed. And I will say, if you have concerns, if you kind of understand what I'm talking, agree with it. The time is now to act. This isn't going to get brought up again. The time is now. I don't see a reason why we shouldn't be doing this. And if you can't really think of the reason either, now is the time to talk about it, not the future. We're trying to get this done today, so.
7.5.2. Sorry, Councillor, thank you. Next page. Wait, here you go.
That's page 60.
60. Yeah.
61, sorry.
60 or 61?
60, my paper, numbers have changed.
Okay, so if you look on those pages to read page 60, that's where it's going to end up. Okay. Councillor Longmire.
So I too can appreciate the desire to amend for this. However, we're not, how to say it politely, we can't rule over someone's property and say they can't have the unregistered vehicle on the front lawn or two up on concrete blocks. There's so many things that we need to think about. Water, if there's oil and gas, and how do we regulate? I know this is about the definition, but again, can't talk about the definition without talking about the end result of the desire of this primary request of changing the definition. I think it opens it way too far. People can apply to consider having whatever their wish is in the future. But for this, you just have to think, to have this on every block, in every dooryard, and what is that going to look like, sound like, perform like, and what are the other environmental implications that it could have? I mean, it's like having this is going to go down the wrong path probably, but let's have a sawmill and it's on at 1 in the morning because that's the only time that person's off from their regular job and we don't want that noise. Then we're going to be sending bylaw out, or unsightly premise. We have people who do that work. We don't need to add more burden to. I know it's lovely and it's a wonderful idea, and I know that that's where kids and teens learn to do so much, ripping apart, tearing down, and building back, and boy, do they ever put tools in their toolbox. I wish that for every child. But for me, I don't think that I will be in favor of adjusting the definition and moving forward with making amendments to remove it. I just think it opens it up way too far for me right now. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Crampton.
So, I support the sentiment behind Councillor Ayers, what he's intended to do with the amendments. I'd like to just note that unregistered vehicles or whatnot, they're also not supposed to be on the road. So if you can't have them in your yard to fix them, what do you do? So, and also I kind of agree with the sentiment that some of this could be a little bit of an overreach. So as grew up on a farm, quite often you had to work on equipment and vehicles and things like that to get them road ready. I know that's not what was going with this document, but it's for those reasons that I support what Councillor Harris is saying, because they're on their own property at that point. They're not bugging anybody. If they are, there's a noise complaint process. The notion of nobody wants to see a bunch of cars up on blocks, I wouldn't want to either, but we have an unsightly premises act that you can follow. So there are other means currently in place to address this issue, or the negatives associated with this. So I view what Councillor Hare is saying is more positive. It's removing a restriction from a landowner.
Thank you. Any other councillor?
I have closing remarks if nobody else.
Yeah, well, Councillor Aguilar?
Thank you. Well, we had a major discussion on this very issue at previous council meetings and committee of the whole meetings, and I think it was pretty evident what the outcome of that was. My concern is, for lack of a better description, urban blight, which I've lived through, we all have, and I'm not going to bring up all my comments regarding some of those issues that I've recognized in certain areas in the past, but I think there's a place for everything, and there's some places that aren't for everything, so unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to support the ultimate goal here, as much as I'd love to be able to support every councillor on every issue that's here, but I just feel that very strongly about this particular one. It's an urban area, and I don't think there's any appetite to have multiple unlicensed, unregistered vehicles in various conditions on somebody's lawn, because a lot of these lots in the area at Cornwallis Park are very small. So I don't think anybody would like to see 3 or 4 unregistered vehicles up on blocks, because believe me, that's what happens. And as far as unsightly premises and so on and so forth, yes, those tools are there, but they rarely work, in my experience. 9 times out of 10, by the time some action might happen, which might be 6 months or a year or 2 down the road, the issue just doesn't get better. So I'd love to be able to support the direction that this is going, but I certainly don't think I'd be able to support that today.
Thank you, Councillor. I have questions before I move anyone. May I ask my question? May I ask my question?
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you. If I have a project in my garage that is behind closed doors, that should not impede if I have a second project for my second son that's outside with the car tinkering. You might have a smaller vehicle in there tinkering in the garage and one outside. That would not conflict with this number. Am I correct to say that? May I ask somebody that could answer that? Because what I can't see behind that garage door, and the public can't see it, then you can work on 3 motorcycles in their parts. It's the outside that we're more or less thinking of. Am I clear on this? Am I on the mark or off the mark? Can the planner, I don't want to put you on the spot, Madame Boateng, that was not my thought, but...
So I think off the mark, currently page 61 of the LUB
Yeah?
talks about not having more than one enclosed within a building, so it's off the mark. So you can only have one on the property, whether in a garage or outside. It can only be one.
It can only be one. Interesting. That's what I'll use for a word. Okay, well, I guess I have my answer. Thank you very much, Madame Boateng. And now you may conclude.
Yep. Again, from what I'm hearing from everybody, the naysayers, what they don't want is to have cars on blocks in driveways and unsightly premises. We do have something to cover. I understand it may not be completely effective, but like I said, this goes to the exact same bylaw enforcement who will be using the exact same tools. So the only thing this will be doing, the only thing this bylaw will be doing is screwing people over. Like, I didn't think that was a swear, but
Yeah.
will be harming people
Very good.
like I, who have grown up, and I grew up with people in also urban areas who want to do these things. That is the only thing, what I'm getting at is this bylaw is only good for harming the legal ones and the ones that are looking good. Because, like I said, there's already a bylaw for the bad ones. So this is just a matter of, it's only the good ones, and that's why this bothers me so much. It's only the good ones. So, and like I say, it's just a matter of And where else are we gonna see this? Like, if the reasoning I'm getting behind having this one, you could apply this reasoning countywide. And this obviously wouldn't work countywide. So like I say, let's think about the good that we are preventing. It's all the good. It's all the young people. It's all the people retiring, trying to have the good. So.
All right, thank you very much, Councillor. Okay, I think it's time for us to decide what we're going to do with this motion. So the motion is on the floor to remove, I don't have it there, but to remove whatever section it is. The definition of unlicensed vehicles. I think we've heard enough. I think we have to decide because it goes on to the other two. There's written two. All in favor on the motion to remove unlicensed vehicles from our package or from the definition list, signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Agree? Those opposed signify by saying no.
No.
2, 3, 4, 5. So, motion is defeated. All right. Let's go to the next amendment that might be coming up. Any other amendments? Councillor?
I move to amend 7.5.3, other provisions in the R1 zone on page 60, to remove the third bullet point, the keeping a household domestic pets excluding all snakes not exceeding the number of 4, and provided there are no more than 3 of any one species. 60, yes, on the bylaw.
Right down the bottom.
So to remove it,
To remove the third bullet point.
Make sure it's.
Okay,
A second.
and you second the motion. Councillor Patrick, sorry. Okay, do you wish to speak to this?
I hope.
Do we have a second?
The seconder is Councillor Cranton.
I just hope everybody had remembered what I said. If they didn't, I can repeat it again, but I'll just kind of summarize.
Please.
Yeah, okay. Again, to me, it just seems like a silly provision, trying to, again, prevent a worst-case scenario. I think people can very easily, safely have more than 4 animals. I think the majority of them can. It's again, the other sections in this policy states, like section 3.3 states single-family homes. Single-family type homes is what we're likely to see in the R1 zone, appeal for families with young children. Again, you're going to end up with possibly easily 5 animals. It's not unheard of. And again, though people may not be, this again, people might say is a complaint-driven basis. Let's create laws that are not meant to be broken. It just be a law meant to be broken, and then just so they can have a tool for a worst-case scenario. So other than that, I'll hopefully people remember what I said and leave it there.
Councillor Cranton, Councillor Longmire. Okay, and Councillor Welch.
Just want to say that, like, I view the topic like a little more black and white, in that it's not the number of pets you have, it's whether you have control over your pet. So a household with 1 dog, just using dogs as an example, that's a problem dog, that's not under control, that's wandering, biting, or whatever. That's not corrected by this, but that dog would be a bigger problem than a household with 4 dogs, and they're all under control and they're not bothering anybody. So this doesn't accomplish anything, so I would support it being removed, again, because the issue is You have control over your pet, not the number of pets. Thank you.
Okay. Longmire.
Thank you. So I look at issues like puppy and cat mills that actually happen far more than we actually wish for. And we find them out, in awkward ways. When we talk about not exceeding 4 of any, or 3 of any one species, we can't control the pregnancy and how many cats or dogs are on board a mother, and we don't know how they manage their animals, and control over the animals certainly is an issue, and that is a really valid point. We can't govern what happens inside someone's home, but by putting some limitations, we can suggest that, that perhaps we could maybe prevent, we can't rule beyond the doorstep, right? But I just think removing it will allow for more silent activity that we can't manage. And yes, we've got bylaw and we've got all of that can come out in force, but who wants to put extra burden on those entities? So I feel that the way it stands there currently is the way it should remain.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Councillor Welch?
I want to echo Mr. Cranton. Sorry, it's been a long day. It is a control issue, and like Councillor Longmire says, we don't control the pregnancy rate of animals either. So someone could be outside the bylaw pretty quick just by having a pregnant cat giving birth. So having limits on the numbers of the animals inside the house, I think, is somewhat restrictive. I do hear your understanding. I think people would find out pretty quick if someone's running a puppy mill in Cornwallis Park, though. So, maybe. So I am in favor of some form of amendment to this particular bylaw. Maybe increasing the numbers, but not necessarily eliminating it entirely.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor. Any other comments from any councillors or question? I'm going to indulge asking a question again. One more time. So I have 6 cats, but they live in the house. But if my 6 cats were outdoor cats, they would cause problems probably in the neighborhood because they go in people's flowers and gardens and this and this.
Get pregnant.
Yeah, do that too if I don't get them pampered with. Not in the garden, no. Anyway, so it's like what happens if somebody walks in and a person that has more than 4 cats or whatever in their house that nobody ever knew they had until they walked into the house? Then they have to report them. I find that, I think this was probably meant, I'm just wondering if it was meant to be that we don't have an onslaught of 10 cats running around for one house, where they should only have a normal number, 2, 3, whatever it is, 4. If they're inside cats, that's different. If they're outside cats, I understand. You have a couple of dogs, well, heaven forbid they get loose. Some you don't want them loose and so forth. It's very difficult I find it very difficult to look at this sentence as it is as well. And I'll leave it at that. I'm indulged in my little rant. Thank you.
I would like to point out one thing. This is only for the R1 zone. Again, it's a little foolish. Of all the residential zones, the R1 zone, which is going to have the largest houses, that's really what we're going to... It is only in the R1. And again, I hear the sentiment that we're trying to prevent the worst case scenario. I hear it. But I'm pretty sure there is probably more than municipal regulations against puppy mills. And I do not believe this bylaw is going to make them more known. It's just, again, it's a matter of the people who you are harming. There's a greater majority of the people you are harming with this bylaw than helping. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. a comment?
Madam Chair, just to clarify, R1 is the small zone,
Single-family home types.
so these are very tiny lots. These are
Thank you.
That's the thing.
3, 4, 5,000 square feet jammed in there like sardines, so there's very tiny lots, so.
Still homes with, that are not apartments.
Correct, yes.
Okay, and Councillor Cranton, revenue?
Just to, basically, Councilor Hare touched on it, a puppy mill isn't gonna follow the bylaw anyway, and same with the ones that let the stray cats run all over the park, they're not gonna follow the bylaw anyway, so I feel leaving it in doesn't accomplish anything, it just punishes the responsible ones in their own home.
Thank you very much, Councillor. If there's no other question, he was supposed to... Okay, we're going to the motion. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying yes. It is to remove the
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Against, signify by putting your hand up. I need
I guess.
2. Motion passed. Okay. 1, 2 down. Any other motions that we should have? Yes, Councillor Hare?
Feel bad, but anyway.
On my book, page 41 of the bylaw,
41.
I just want to make sure it's still 41, because I think the page number's changed on some of the previous ones I had. Oh, it's still page 41. Page 41, 4.34, I move to amend bullet point 1
Yes.
to remove the word trails.
Correct. Okay. So do you want this? This one's removed? Okay, I need a seconder. Councillor Hurd. So everybody has read bullet point 1, commercial and private use motorized vehicles, racetracks, jump tracks, roads, remove that one, stadiums, arenas, and commercial tracks for the racing of animals or any other such facilities or operations. You may, go ahead.
I'm just going to hopefully go over this quick. Again, there's work happening right now to revitalize the Harvest Moon Trail past Annapolis Royal, and this is done by the OHV community. It may or may not end up getting close to Cornwallis. I don't think they have any current plans to go that far, but who knows? This is a matter of just leaving the opportunity available, and the opportunity available for perhaps other OHV trails. It's not unheard of. In even communities like this, it's not unheard of. Because you see it in Shelburne, you see it in Yarmouth. We just had our roads project that points out it is very possible everywhere. I kind of wish Councillor Connell was here today to advocate on how it has helped his business out having the recreational trails. He talks about hundreds of snowmobilers this time of year. So it's, and again, it's about letting, if we someday just have the opportunity to have a trail to go to Cornwallis, these people are in a more urban setting, and what better way for them to be able to explore the vast reaches of our rural county than on an ATV, because I can personally say, you can go anywhere in this county, and what you can see is phenomenal. And so it just opens it up for them to get out, and for people to get in. It's just a possibility. It may never happen, but.
Okay. Thank you.
Madam Chair, may I just clarify, this is commercial, so this doesn't apply to your nonprofit groups, right? This is if somebody wants to go in and set up a commercial trail and keep out the public?
You don't think it'll be argued that,
No, it's commercial or private use, motorized trails, stadiums, arenas. so on and so forth. So you remove it, somebody can come in and set up a private trail and keep the public out.
So currently, as the document says, if they want to reopen the Harvest Moon Trail through Cornwallis and do development to it,
It's different.
It's zoned for that now.
there wouldn't be, or perhaps somebody,
It's right now zoned for public.
okay,
public
but I
use.
also heard
Yeah.
that they may not go stick to the Harvest Moon Trail, and they instead are looking to go south. And that would run through, that could possibly run through a different zoning area. And if a trail group wanted to advocate for a right-of-way through a commercial zone, I see there's an industrial zone down there, I don't know if that commercial industrial are separated at the bottom.
That's an emergency building.
Yes, it just, I guess this helps a lot, from my understanding. I still just like to see it removed, just for the off chance that there's, somebody really adamant about preventing, the recreation.
I think
Can
you
that
have-
happen?
I think you have a bigger risk if you take it out. Somebody could put a commercial in block.
Yeah,
I think there's a bigger risk of taking it out than there is leaving it in. Because right now you can put in recreation anywhere. There's no restrictions anywhere. This is just commercial. So if you take it out, then you're allowing commercial uses in that zone.
As long as you're,
Was then going to take away your public use.
as long as you're absolutely sure that they wouldn't run into an issue, then I would withdraw my motion.
Well, lawyer in the world, that would agree to that statement, but
we'll give it a shot, right? You know that.
but the word, as I interpret the wording's commercial. You just don't want somebody going there and operating a commercial and restricting the public access.
If that's the case, then I would rescind my motion.
You will withdraw your motion, okay? Motion withdrawn. Perfect. Do we have another amendment somewhere else?
The last one.
We had 4, okay, good.
And this one I'm pretty certain I have right.
Oh, we have to discuss it. Page,
Page 35, 4.16, I believe this is the bylaw again.
hold on. 35, 4.16. Top of the page,
It's just, 4.16. And again,
agriculture.
basically what this comes down to is I just want to see the opportunity for 4-H to possibly expand. I don't think anybody can ruin a neighborhood with 3 birds or 3 animals. Again, I hope people remember everything I said. I think the positives that come out of this outweigh the negatives.
Wait, did you make your motion?
Oh, shoot, I need to make a motion. I move to...
Sorry. Yes, go.
I move to amend 4.16 to read, agricultural animals are not permitted in any zone within the planning area except animals on par with 4-H Nova Scotia's poultry, rabbit, and waterfowl programs limited to 3 animals total in the R1 zone.
Okay, now you're gonna have to read that so that she can type that out. Go.
Are not permitted in any zone within the planning area except animals on par with with 4-H Nova Scotia's poultry, rabbit, and waterfowl programs. Limited to 3 animals total
Is a cow part of that?
in the R1 zone.
Is a cow part of that? I just need to ask.
No, it's what I listed, what I
Okay.
specified.
I'm just trying to get the size.
Yeah, but she's gonna reread it so that you can get a grip on it.
Just a map. Love you.
Are you listening?
Nova Scotia's poultry, rabbit, and waterfowl limited to 3 animals total. Did I miss anything?
Nope.
Are those the only animals?
Well, there's other animals, but what are you deeming agriculture? Right?
We need that.
Yes, we do, before I go anywhere, yes. Secondary, temporary. Okay.
So all you're voting on is the motion before, not other stuff, so.
If I may.
Yes.
Again, this is about just, we talk about how this policy itself states that there should be, actually 1.4.3 on page 7 of policy, states enhanced recreational amenities and programs should be considered for youth, and this is just what we are about in Annapolis County. We're the home of the Annapolis Valley Exhibition. We're about 4-H, we're about agriculture. I understand we can't have full-blown agriculture in these areas, but you know what, this is I think a pretty positive thing that we can do in this area, and I don't think we're going to see a ton of problems with this. I mean, I know people that keep chickens in their house, so.
I agree with that statement, I know too.
So,
And he did stipulate chickens, not roosters.
Yeah. Rooster. Well, I know one that did that too. Okay, are there any comments or questions on this amendment? Councillor Welsh, what do you can clarify before I say?
I just want to say I'm really in favor of this idea. It's, I like the initiative of allowing kids to be involved in a practice like that. It's something that I think is really missing right now in our communities. So I think the rebirth of, like, we have exhibition in Bear River, but we don't have a 4-H group anymore. And I think this would allow for a rebirth of that opportunity in our area. So I do support it.
Yeah. So Councillor Longmire, Councillor Cranton. Go.
So I'd love to see 4-H grow. And certainly I don't want to put restrictions where they're not needed. But you go back to the keeping of the household domestic pets, and we're going to allow, but not to exceed 4 in any number, provided no more than 3 of one species. I can call a chicken a pet, right? And throw a couple of chickens in my house, and I would love to do that. But, I look at mice, I look at rats, I look at the nuisance that can come about from some of this activity. Now, is that going to happen? I don't know. I can't predict the future. I do know I live on the shoreline, and I know that rats are running around, and they're about this size, about, 3-4 pounds, and they've got a tail about that long, and I don't enjoy it. And on any one given year, we see about 25, 30. It's not fun. Houses are really, really congested, Anyway, glad it's not larger animals. How to provide that opportunity for people to grow their desire, and I would love to see children outside playing more, and I would like to see them engaging in 4-H clubs and all these things that will expand their minds and give them opportunities maybe in the future to be part of the agricultural worlds. I just don't know. It's always challenging to know how to vote on something like this. I just think about the nuisances that can come about, and I do have to be wary of that, because if I was a neighbor and someone did not necessarily look after that or manage it well, then it will impact my property, and of course, it all directly impacts resale values and all kinds of things when you start to hear the news in the neighborhood. So, just comments more than anything. Thanks.
Thank you. Next, Councillor Cranton.
I support the initiative, and I don't really want to open up a can of worms, but my question would be the limit of 3, specifically in relation to potential chicken coop or rabbits. When I lived in Cornwallis Park, my neighbor had rabbits. They were pets, too. And they were contained, they were not a nuisance, they were responsible owners, but just quite frankly, one's a boy and one's a girl, it ain't gonna take long to go over 3. So
That's right.
that's
The rats will take them out.
That's,
Councillor
don't want to talk too
Longmire.
much more on it, but I support it, and maybe we look at changing the limit at another time, but that was my concern, is the limit on those particular species.
Thank you, Councillor. Okay, is there anybody next?
I'd like for closing remarks, if I could.
Yes, but just wait. Okay, everybody has said something, so now you can bring it in.
I do understand the concern of mice, rats, and nuisance, and this comes back to where I got the number of 3 from. If you have 3 I've had 3 birds. It's real easy to keep them clean, tidy, and to keep a small pen airtight. That's why I chose 3. Any less than that, then you run into the issues of the well-beings of the animals. These animals do need companionship. So I think 3 is right there. And it's just a matter of, I know my brother just come down from Kingston, Ontario, from RMC, just for vacation, and he comes telling me they're allowed 5 in Kingston, Ontario. So I don't think 3 is out of the question.
Bigger problems.
Halifax allows them 2.
Okay, so we,
Sorry.
you're gonna sneak in there, aren't you?
One little quick question.
Okay.
I heard the word rooster here a moment ago, but is, no roosters?
3.
You could have 3 roosters. Cock-a-doodle-doo in the morning.
Not outside, it has to be inside.
Chickens. The rabbits are inside?
Poultry is, he's not.
No, I said-
Rooster, did you?
No, you said poultry. Poultry.
I would amend that for hens.
Yes, because there's no roosters.
Thank you.
I'm not, have no comment. Okay, so
I just have a
poultry
clarification.
means roosters and
I just mean
chickens?
hens. I just meant hens.
You just mean hens.
No roosters.
Hens. If I say hens and
So we need to move that out of there, right? We just mean hens, so, we need a motion to remove that to replace it with. Yeah.
So I need to make that motion. I move to amend the amendment to read hen instead of poultry.
I'll second that.
Seconder is Councilor Saltzman.
Inside the house?
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's mentioned.
Carson Saltzman, seconder. Okay, so on the, just changing from poultry to hens, all in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Against, no? Approved.
Who said that?
I didn't say that. I did not say that. Okay, so now let's back to the motion. On the amended motion, all,
No, can we have it read, please?
can you have it read?
Okay. So,
Section 4.16, page 35.
page 35 of the LUB, section 4.16, change to read, agriculture animals are not permitted in any zone of the planning area except animals on par with 4-H Nova Scotia's, hens, rabbit, or waterfowl limited to 3 animals total.
Can I ask a clarification question? Or,
Clarification on,
yeah. They can be inside or outside? Inside the home or outside? They can be anywhere? Just need it clarified. Okay. Managing 3 hens running around on a front lawn and getting away and going to other people's gardens. Just a question. Just a statement. I'll leave it there. It's all good. I just could go on forever.
I think the 4-H, I know.
Yep, it's all good. I'm good.
Okay, anything else? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Leave them up, leave them up. Okay, thank you. Against, signify by saying no. Motion passed.
Well,
All right. You said you were done.
I'm done.
I knew I was at 4, so
I have to leave.
are there any other councilors who wish to do any amendments to the document? Because it's now the time, and whether it's anything. All right then, so, right back to the,
Sorry, Warden.
to the main motion as amended. You need to have it reread again, or is it a go? We know all our amendments.
Yes.
Yep. I'm just gonna have to read a lot, so I have to read it all. If anybody wants it reread, put up your hand now. If not, we're gonna go with all in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passed. Okay.
Hallelujah.
I was going to say that.
You know what's coming. Amen.
Warden.
We'll have to take, hold on just a second. We're going, before we go anywhere, everybody knows. Listen, thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for coming.
I think there's a lot of good for the county.
Councilor Ackelbar, are you with me? I need a motion to go into camera. The motion by...
I'll second.
Councilor Parsons Solomon, seconded by Councilor Oxner. All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes, no, motion approved. And we are going to put the clicker on. Are we ready?